Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Olivia, and today's topic is on networking. Yes, you heard it right, networking. So if you follow me, you know that I'm a small business owner and I am a children's book author, writing coach, business coach, all of the things, right? And so I want to share with you guys the importance of implementing and including networking into your everyday business operation or whatever industry that you're in. If you're looking to grow, if you're in growth mode, networking will definitely help you to get there. So a little bit about me. During pandemic, I had major anxiety. I didn't want to like go around people. Even when my older kids came around, I was keeping them at arm's length. And there was a lot to do, there was a lot that was involved with that. So my mom is elderly. She lives with me and my husband and our two younger boys. And then we have two older kids that are on their own. And so my mom has a lot of health problems, and I was concerned about her getting COVID. I was concerned about me getting COVID too, but I was more concerned about her. And I didn't want to like go around a lot of people. So like my church, we were doing online service. And then when we moved to back in the building, it was spaced out. We weren't hugging, we were wearing masks, all of that stuff. And I get that there are people on all different sides of that. I'm just sharing my experience. And so I was really reluctant, nervous, and really had some anxieties around being around people. But I'm a small business owner and I'm in growth mode. At the time, my business was brand new. And so, yeah, I was posting stuff on social media and texting and emailing, but I understood that networking was important, but I was really nervous and really anxious about it. So, despite my feelings about it, I recognized that it was something important. And so I set it as a business goal. And I remember, I remember a friend of mine, a really close friend of mine, recommended that I go visit a friend of hers small business networking group. It was so my friend, she's now my friend, but she has a couple of networking groups. One's a Christian group and one's a whoever can come group, right? And so my friend Kathy recommended that I go visit my her friend and now my friend Cindy's networking group. I had such a panic attack over that. That was like in October. I had such a panic attack about that. I was worried about how many people were going to be there. Was the space going to be big enough for me to be at least 6 feet away from other people? I leaned into my fear, looked her up on Google, reached out to her, and saw that she had this event. I leaned into my fear and I went to this networking event. It was downtown Mount Clemens. I live here in Michigan, so it wasn't far from me. And I found a parking spot. I was sweating. I had this weird feeling in my chest. And I just like gathered myself in the car and prayed, and I was like, Lord, I need you to help me. I need you to direct me. You know to go into this networking event. I want to meet people. I want to put my business out there. I want people to know what I'm doing. I want to know what other people are doing. but I'm so anxious about this whole pandemic, this whole virus. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to bring it in the house. I don't want my mom to get it, all these things. So I'm praying in the car, like literally in front of the building. So I go into the building and the event was upstairs. I went upstairs. I met Cindy, who is the CEO and director of the My Christian Business Network group. And also, what is the other one? The other one is my um, collaborative um, business group. And so I met her. We clicked right away. We didn't hug or anything. Um, you know, it was a big enough conference room where we weren't right up on top of each other, but I didn't eat anything. I didn't drink anything, all the things, right? So went to this networking event, really was taking notes, learned a lot. And, Cindy was saying that after the event, that networking workshop, she and a few of the ladies from the same group was going to go to another friend's house and do a TikTok. Now, I was doing TikTok. I liked doing TikToks. And she was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Okay." And I followed her to our friend Kristen's house, who we all live in the same city. We all live literally a couple miles apart from each other. And so we did this TikTok. It was funny, it was hilarious. Got to meet Kristen because she was not at the event. But I'm sharing that story to say that even when you're afraid, even when it doesn't feel right, even when you're uncomfortable, it is beneficial to face your fear. It is beneficial to step out in faith and to do something you don't necessarily feel great about. I prayed in the car. It was one of my goals on my vision board about, attending at least one networking event, one networking group a month, and the opportunity fell in my lap, and I didn't allow my fear and my anxiety around pandemic and germs to stop me. Needless to say, the group that I went to, the director and I are really close friends still today. This was a couple years ago now. Are still friends today. We've done a couple of TikToks. I've gone to several of her events. She and I are also members of another small business networking group. Why am I telling you all this? If you are a small business owner or even a manager of a small business or a director, you're in some position of leadership and you're wanting to grow, you're wanting to get exposure. Business networking, small business networking is important, right? And so I want to share my story with you to encourage you to not be afraid of going out and joining small business networking groups. Some of the benefits of attending small business networking groups and networking events is exposure. You never know who you're going to meet, right? And it's important to surround yourself with different kinds of people. It doesn't have to be in the same industry, right? As a matter of fact, all of the small business networking group that I belong to, my niche is unique. I'm a children's book author. I create literary content, journals, coloring book, activity books, notebooks. Um, Not a lot of people do that. Yes, a lot of people do that, but in these groups that I belong to, not a lot. I've come across maybe one or two, and we've done collaborations together. But I will tell you this, out of my networking events, and I belong to about three networking groups, I've gotten so many recommendations. I've gotten so many collaborations. I've gotten invited to different event space. Um, More than that I've gotten on my own, just doing social media, just doing email campaigning, just talking to my friends and family and people in my circle of influence. These networking groups have put me in connections with people who have asked for my services and my products, right? So I want you to, if you're a small business owner or you're aspiring to be a small business owner, I want you to make networking important, to be strategic about networking. So you can kind of get lost in networking if you are not strategic, right? Because like I belong to a small business chamber here in Macomb County, and they have so many events. It could become a full-time job. Now, I don't have that kind of time because I have a day job. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a caregiver, and I have my own business. So I don't have time to go to every single event that they have, right? Every chamber event. So I'm selective about which ones that I can attend and it not be overwhelming. It doesn't feel like I'm just running, 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 right? So I recommend, from my personal experience, to join 2 to 3 networking events. One of them could be online, and two of them could be face to face, right? Again, you don't have to attend all of the events that they have, but be strategic about which events you want to attend, right? Set goals for your networking. What is the purpose that you're networking? Are you in growth mode? Are you looking for collaborations? Are you, what are your goals? Are you trying to grow your subscriber list, your social media? Set some manageable goals for the reason that you are joining and attending networking events. Be specific, niche that down as much as possible. For me, I am trying to get exposure to what it is that I do. And like I mentioned, I do a few things, right? I'm a children's book author. I create literary content, coloring books, activity books, notebooks, journals, that kind of stuff. I am branching into the space of speaking, of keynote speaking, right? And I have an online boutique. So, I want to get exposure to kids, to parents, to moms, because they're the ones that have the kids, right? To schools or even places where children will visit, like the library, right? Or kids' clubs, like the boys' club, those kinds of things. So, a lot of my networking events that I go to, people in those groups know people in, positions at girls and boys clubs and daycares and schools and all of that. So that's beneficial for me, right? Focus on quality versus quantity. What do I mean by that? You have people who will just have a goal. I have to go to 5 networking events a month. Well, why? Right? If you attend those 5 networking events, how many people at each of those events will you connect with? Right? So for me, I with one of the groups that I belong to, the Christian networking thing, I go to one face-to-face networking event every 2 months. One, right? And it's usually it's they're pretty planned out, so it's typically the same place. I will mix it up here and there, but it's in close proximity to my house. When I go, I'm not trying to meet every single person in the room. Yes, there is an opportunity to introduce yourself and talk about your industry and how you solve a problem and all those things. Those are all like a part of the normal ebb and flow of attending a networking event. But outside of that, I'm not trying to connect with everybody at that networking event. You know, I want to focus on 2 to 3 people, talk to them one on one, give them my business card. I give them their business card, and just, we exchange business cards, and just like a couple minutes conversation, right? And I always ask them, hey, Are you comfortable with me contacting you and setting up a one-on-one? And that one-on-one could be, I've done one-on-one over FaceTime. I've done one on one over Zoom. I've done one on one in person. I've done one on one at the park, at the library, at Panera Bread, at a coffee shop. So, it's up to you. Where do you feel comfortable with, setting up your one on one meetings with these connections that you meet at networking event? And I tell them straight up, there's no fluff, there's no, anything weird. I just said, hey, I would love to set up a one-on-one with you and see how we can learn about each other and if we can collaborate and help each other's business to grow. That's all I say. And I've not had anybody tell me no. I've not had anybody that I've met at a networking event when I asked them to set up a one-on-one and to learn about their business and for them to learn about my business and to see how we can collaborate together and help each other's business grow. I've not had anyone told me no. And I follow through. Within 24 hours, I connect with that person. I call. If they don't answer, I'll leave a text and they call me back and we set up something. And 8 out of 10 times, some sort of collaboration arise out of those one-on-one. So focus on quality versus quantity. Those one or two or three connections that you will gather from your networking event and build a relationship out of that versus collecting everybody's business card and they collect all, your business card. You don't remember their name, you don't know what they do. For me, that's not a strategy that I use. Some people may use it and it may be successful for them, but that's not what I do, right? Um, Networking can be a game changer. So I want to encourage you with this video. If you're a small business owner, if you're in a particular industry, if you're an aspiring small business owner, to consider setting networking goals and joining two, no more than three networking groups, and at least attend one networking event a month. And that could be on Zoom, that could be you know, um, over FaceTime, however, digitally that they set up. It could be an Instagram live, it could be a YouTube live, it could be a TikTok live, it could be a live on LinkedIn, whatever digital networking events that there are, try to plug into, at least one, right? I don't recommend that you join more than three networking groups because that can become a lot. And if you're a busy person like me, it's not going to work for you. It's going to feel like work and you don't want it to feel like work. Right now, another thing that tip I want to share with you guys is, where to find networking events, right? Facebook is a great spot. TikTok is also a great spot, but use the people in your life also, right? Like my friend Kathy, we went on a road trip to visit her daughter way upstate, up north Michigan. It was like a 9 hour drive, and we're just talking about each other's lives. We've known each other, I don't know, 16 years, something crazy like that. So we're just like, on this girls' road trip, we're just talking. And she's like, yeah, so, I see your books are doing good, and, what's next? And I'm like, I've been looking to join a couple of networking groups. I've not been networking, I'm not a member of any. Do you know any? And of course, she's connected. And she recommended this group that I am a member of now and that I formed friendships with the people in the group. So ask the people in your life, whether that's in your house or, people you work with or people at church, other people that are in business, other people that are out in the community, just have the conversation, just ask them. You never know where it will go. You never know where it will go. And, some of those connections, you may change industry. It doesn't mean that you have to not stay connected with those people, because we know that people change jobs and change industry. But once you've made a good connection, that connection could be a lifetime connection, right? So I save a lot of numbers and contact information in my phone so that I can, look people up and call. So, I encourage you to start with the people in your life, asking them, hey, do you know any good networking groups? Have you heard of? Then you can look on also Facebook Marketplace, TikTok, Instagram, those kinds of things, those kinds of platforms to find networking groups. And here's another tip too. Not every network group that you may join or may visit may be a right fit for you, and that's okay. If like the small business chamber that I joined in my community, you can visit, I think 2 or 3 times you can visit a group to see if you like it before joining, because you have to pay money. Some networking groups are free, some it's a nominal cost, and some are kind of pricey. The small business chamber, I want to say it's about $250 for the year. And then, smaller ones, they may just charge you $20, $10, $25, and sometimes even more, depending on the networking event. Certain events like golfing and stuff like that will definitely cost more. But smaller networking groups, you can pay anywhere from $10 to $20 per event. So you have to weigh that for yourself. If you're going to go to a lot of events, instead of paying for the events like a la carte, think about the membership. One of the groups that I belong to, the My Christian Business Networking group that I belong to, I pay the annual, which is under $100, because if I don't do the annual and I do the a la carte, if I go to 3 events, 4 events in the year, that's the membership. So for me, the annual membership fee makes more sense and is more economical versus the a la carte. So you just have to figure that out. Now, another networking group that I go to, they don't have an annual fee. It's all a la carte. And so I don't go to all of their events because I can't. I have other things going on. So I'll pick which event works out with my schedule and my family schedule and all of that. And it's usually $20. So there are free stuff, there are stuff for low cost, and there are stuff that are a little bit more pricey. So work that into your small business budget. And, keep in mind too that all of these kinds of training that are business related, you can put on your small business taxes under training and development. So, on the back end, you have to pay for it up front, but on the back end, it's a tax deduction. So, yeah, I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about the importance of networking if you are a small business owner or aspiring small business owner, or even if you have some kind of side hustle that you're in growth mode where you need people to know what you're doing, where you need people to use your products and services. But it's super important that you attend small business networking groups, pick the right groups, and focus on quality over quantity. Don't run yourself ragged by going to every single networking event. Be strategic. And once you do attend those events, don't let it be a goal where you're trying to meet everybody at the networking event, where you're trying to gather everybody's business card. Um, that's a headache. Focus on 2 to 3 people, that you want to connect with, exchange business cards, reach out, set up a meeting, set up a one-on-one, whether it's, digital or in person, get to know each other, and collaborate and support each other. Networking is a game changer. I want my story of being anxious, because of pandemic and having an elderly mom live with me and not wanting to socialize with people because I didn't want to bring the virus in our home. How that was a problem for me, but I leaned into that fear. I stepped out in faith and it worked. God worked it all out. So I want to encourage you, let my story, let my message, encourage you that whatever it is that you're afraid of, lean into it. Get a little bit more comfortable with being uncomfortable because when you want to grow, when you're setting big goals, whether it's business or personal, it's not peaches and cream. Everything is not going to be easy, and you will have to push yourself. And this story that I shared about being afraid and having a panic attack and breaking out in sweat in the car in front of the building, that was real. And that was me stepping out in faith. That was me leaning into my fear. That was me, stepping out even though I was uncomfortable and I didn't know what was going to happen. But it all worked out. So I want to encourage you to step out in faith, to walk in your fear. Don't let your fear paralyze you where you do nothing, right? Face that fear head on. Muster up that 15 seconds of courage to push yourself past, that fear, past that anxiety, past that block, past that limiting beliefs. So I want to thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope that you like this content. And if you do like this content or you have suggestions on what other topics you think I should cover, being a children's book author, being a small business owner, publishing a magazine in my community, share with me in the comments. And also share with me one example, true story, real life example of when you were afraid, but you did the thing afraid anyway. And it all worked out. Share with me in the comments. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Have a great day. Bye, guys.